that crap.
Because I am whatever the fuck you say I am. If I wasn't, then why the fuck would you say I am? Always running your mouth about me to everyone that you see about me. But that shit don't faze me. Because I am what the fuck you say I am.
Well, I was not prepared for that.
Neither was I.
Do you know what?
Gosh.
I wasn't even prepared for that.
I was like,
And I-
did this whole podcast just get hijacked or?
Yeah, it got taken.
wow.
In typical professional fashion. That's how
You know
we
what?
roll.
You know why that was up there? Because I was going to go live myself, remember? The other night.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
The time in which that landed in the middle of our conversation.
I know.
I'm so confused.
Well, welcome to the most professional show in the space.
It's about time.
Yeah. So we were just talking about freedom of speech and
The First
First and Second Amendments.
Yes.
Which is obviously it's hello everyone. It's a these instances. I mean, I'm 40, or did you say 42? Close to 43. Jon's 17 or something. In the last sort of 20 years, I'd say from the day that this unfortunately was supposed to be about 9/11. You can sort of draw a line in the sand from 9/11, and then say since then we've had a cascade of sort of these events.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Diana in 97, like everyone remembers where they were, Diana died. But then since 9/11, it would appear there's been so many of these events that you remember where you were, or, and these big worldwide, global, seemingly important events that people kind of have to navigate around. Yeah.
Well, the hard thing too is that we have so much easier access to information, and not just hearsay or written in the news. Like, we can see it now. Like the entire world goes through horrific events, unfortunately, on a daily basis. The only difference is now we actually get to see those things unfold with actual, like, firsthand videos and stuff. Like I think that's the biggest problem, is that some people may be desensitized to that. I mean, I remember when Mortal Kombat first came out and they had like blood in a video game and they were killing people at the end. Like people lost their minds. Like, this is going to destroy the fabric of our youth and turn them all into crazy people. Now you look back and you're like, geez, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to match what access children can have to the world now. And they shouldn't have that kind of stuff.
Well, you think, like, when the Beatles were out, like the teens and the 20-year-olds that were listening to that, their parents thought it was like hard rock.
People thought Elvis Presley was the devil.
Yeah, you shouldn't be listening to this. And you listen to it now, and it's like, you're like, calm down, mate. It's like,
like you thought the hip swivel thing was the dance of the devil, and like, I ain't nothing but a hound dog. And then 3 years later, WAP was like the #1 song in the world. Like,
yeah, the lyrics
look
are slightly
at
more.
what we're talking about here.
Exactly. And funny enough, my kids were playing out about an hour ago, and one of the kids has got a Bluetooth speaker with music playing, and Milkshake was playing by Khalees. And I went out, I was like, no, skip. Like, but then again, I'm thinking, in their minds, they're all 7 and 8.
They're thinking about milkshakes.
This woman's just singing about milkshakes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I'm making it weird.
I mean, unless they're like overtly describing exactly what that is. I mean, gosh, there was an old song, it's an old R&B song when I was growing up, back in the roller rink days, in my youth, and it was I think it was like 311 or something, and I was like, "Girl, I'm so excited, I can't hide it." Something. But the whole song was about him getting an erection.
Oh, I'm
like 12 years old, skating in the skating rink, just like, so excited. I was like, now later, I'm like, oh my gosh, or like any Usher song you would sing in like high school. So even then, it's not nearly as bad as what I sound so old now. I sound like my parents.
The thing is, right, is that the scale and the magnitude at which how graphic it's got. So obviously Mortal Kombat was one, and then Grand Theft Auto came out, and then Call of Duty, and you're seeing these, and it's corrupting kids' minds. But now they go online, and 5 years ago it was people being beheaded, videos going around. Now we unfortunately get passed around videos of a man getting shot in the neck, and you see very graphic imagery.
Yeah.
I don't see how much worse it can get. Like, and that's real, and people dying in reality in these videos. And then the music scene, like WAP, like how much more graphic are you going to get than that?
Right.
And I don't see how much further it can go. Whereas Mortal Kombat, it was like 2D characters hitting each other. But
yeah. Well, I'm unfortunately I'm always in the camp that it can always get worse, and I think the worst comes from the reaction to it, and the worst comes from the desensitization to it, and so then people feel like they need to take it to the next level just to get attention. Right?
But that's the thing. Everyone is
right.
So
we live in a world where, oh yeah, I see this every day, so it's okay. It's like, no, this is absolutely like bone chilling horrific of what we just saw over the last day and a half. That's just in the United States that I've been looking at. And we live in a world where attention is king, and eyeballs and clicks and views and likes are the currency of which unfortunately people hold themselves to. And it's so far false of that reality that I hope I never have to subject my children to until they're old enough to be able to process that on their own, which is part of my job as a father, is to not shield them from that. I think that's where people go wrong. And this could tie into kind of the topic of today, is like, our job as parents is not to shield people or shield our children from this information. It's to teach them how to process that information when it's given to them, stand up for themselves when they need to stand up, and to be able to be strong enough to understand right and wrong. However you want to put that, you could put that in what you believe your moral compass is. You could put that in your faith or your religion or whatever that anchors into. But at the same time, is that the biggest mistake we can give our children is the inability to defend themselves. And whether it's out of good intention, is that I knew a lot of kids that I went to college with that had, flyover parents that never let them see, hear, do anything wrong, negative. And then they go out into the wild on their own, and they suffered massively because of that inexperience and lack of understanding and knowledge.
So, totally agree. I'm going to draw that into our topic of conversation, which is a lovely segue. So, what age groups do you coach, Chase? Is it your kids' age groups?
Yes, right now it's my kids.
Okay.
So I have an older son. He's 7, and then a younger daughter, and she is 5. So second grade and kindergarten in the States.
Right. And you tell us why you got. I know you talked about this in the past, but tell us why you got into coaching your kids' teams.
So when I was younger, my father coached every one of my teams until I got to, say, middle school, where you start playing for the actual school, or high school or college, where your schools had teams themselves. So in youth, growing up for us, it was just, we called it the YMCA. And it was just a collection of, like, basically they're like fitness places or places where people can come together, and they would run their own little leagues. And there was basically 4 sports a year that were available. You had basketball, soccer, baseball, swimming in the summertime when you're out of school with your local neighborhood team. Football, when I was younger, didn't really start until you got to middle school. They didn't really have an option for kids, especially tackle football at a young age, because at that age, they don't need to be tackling each other anyways. Flag football wasn't really a popular thing. Now that I've got kids, like, flag football is a huge thing, which I think is great. But it was really fun to be coached by my dad. I have a lot of core memories with me and my father. My brother, who's younger than me, but he's bigger and more athletically gifted, played on all of my teams. Oh yeah. So I'm 6'2", 220. My younger brother is 6'10", like 275.
Fuck it out.
6'10".
6'10". So he's got 8 inches on me and about 50 pounds. And he was was a 3-sport All-American in high school, played collegiate football and had pro potential, but he got hurt in college and it ended his career, which was a tough thing for him to work through at the time, but he's doing awesome now. He's coaching his kids. For me, it was always something I wanted to do because I loved that relationship that I had with my father as an athlete and him being my coach. I wanted to give my son that same experience. However, with all of that anticipation, when my son first started his first sport, he's 3 or 4 years old, and it was soccer, right? Everybody starts with soccer or football, right? And my wife goes, "You will not coach our children." She was like, "I refuse. Like, you can't do it. Just let him go out on his own." So I obliged. So his first basketball season, I didn't coach. His first soccer season, I didn't coach. His first flag football season, I didn't coach. And baseball, I didn't coach them. And after that year of watching these coaches or dads not focus on the whole team, only look at their kid, only try to win the game, or just completely neglect and not pay attention to the kids, my wife turned to me and said, "Okay, our kids." And so for me, it has nothing to do with me being in a controlling position for my son. It's giving my son and every other kid on that team an experience that I hope they fall in love with. I don't care if it's soccer, pick your sport. It's not about the sport that we're playing. It's what sports meant to me. And for me, playing team sports growing up shaped me who I am today. And people may think that's massively like a hyperbole or way over the top. And it's incorrect because it had nothing to do with the sport I played and everything to do about learning how to be a good teammate, learning how to communicate, learning how to compromise, learning how to be selfless, learning how to look out for others other than yourself, because it's the collective versus the individual. And that type of practice, training, in the trenches type play shaped the way I was going to be growing up, because at the end of the day, we're all on one giant team. And look, you, me, like all of us at the end of the day, like, and to have that isolated individual mentality, I think you can't shake if you don't play any type of youth sport or any organization, in a band, in an orchestra, right? That all works together. So that was a really important thing that I wanted to give my kids and anyone else who trusted me with their children in whatever sport we were playing.
You don't really get the same experience playing an individual sport, though, do you? Like,
no.
And you're a bit more selfish, and it's like all about you. And like, I think that kind of carries over into adulthood. And if you're a coach, because you haven't had to think about the collective, as you're talking about there, like the teams and whatnot. But if you have been brought up around youth sports, like team sports, you do learn that.
I would say even in individual sports in a youth setting, so say middle school, grade school, university, or things like that. Let's take golf, for example. Yes, you're doing an individual sport. However, the way those sports are set up with university to university, it's still a collective effort as the group. So you're still most of the time in an isolated setting. I mean, think about, I think any individual sport, there are opportunities to work together in a team setting. So there's still that. So I still think putting yourself in any type of, honestly, activity where there's failure involved is a massive way to really get outside yourself and understand how the world really works around you. Yeah. And that's helpful. And I know we're talking sports, but like pick any activity that requires some type of practice or training.
Hey, sport for me is the last bastion of pure education for kids. It's that you got to think about why we have sport. It was developed early on to mimic and imitate war. Yes. So that the warriors could continue to develop and learn and be part of that group to then transfer it back. And that's the origins of sport, for testing and to, for those drills. Now, if you take those lessons and, you know, roll them forward a couple of thousand years, they're still the foundations of good humans. Right. If you can, it's the old adage, but we say it all the time, but you can tell a mile off kids that didn't play sport as kids, like as in groups. You can tell it a mile off, and that might be not necessarily a bad thing, but you can you can pick up on that. So Chase, in your teams that you coach, do you find a different? Are there that you know of kids that are only children, so they haven't got any siblings?
Yes.
Do they take to the setting a bit differently initially? Yeah,
it's very interesting because you have every walk of life. You've got only children, you've got the oldest of multiple children, you've got the middle children, you've got the youngest. Right? And what's funny is that you can see the youngest from a mile away once they step onto the field because they've been watching their older siblings do this thing. It's crazy to see. You've got the oldest, and they can go both ways. They can either be super shy or they can be massively outgoing, crazy kids. And then the only kids are the ones that are usually pretty quiet because they're not used to that stimulus of other kids around them. Yes, maybe in school, maybe in class, maybe in recess is one. But again, on a sport arena, it's a pretty intimidating thing if you're not used to other people being around you in a setting that you can't control. And so those only kids is, you get a sense for that. But at the end of the day, for me, it's that I want to make sure that all these kids got a great opportunity to try new things and to learn great lessons. And the biggest mistake I see a lot of coaches making now is that they're so focused on the end result of the game or the statistics for their children as the measure of success. So they're only focused on winning the game. And if they're only focused on winning the game, are they focused on coaching the kids? Are they focused on teaching the kids? There's a massive discipline element that comes to that. Like, I told you to stand here and do this when the ball comes to you. Why are you over here when you shouldn't? Like, you need to have some discipline and understanding is that's the position you play. And so when I coach these teams, it's, winning is great. I love winning. I hate losing. I hate it. I hate every second of losing. Still to this day, even if it's a team of 5-year-old girls and we get run off the field, I hate it. But at the end of the day, it's like, they don't care. And so why am I imposing my personal feelings of winning and losing on a bunch of kids who are playing a game, not a sport?
Yes.
They're 7, they're 5, they're 12. Like, nobody is getting college scholarships or professional contracts at this age. This was the age where we're just supposed to be playing and slowly learning lessons of the game. I'd rather us do the correct positions on a soccer field or plays on a basketball court or routes on a football field, do that right, and be like, listen, Mike, you're the fastest kid out there. Run past everybody. We're just going to throw you the ball, and we're going to score a touchdown every play, and we're going to win. What are the other 12 kids are supposed to do? Or we're just going to run the score up on this team and show them how great we are. Like, let's just ruin everybody's day on the other side of the field. I was like, listen, you can win without demoralizing everybody that you're playing against.
Yeah.
We had that yesterday. My daughter happens to be, I would say, good. She's 5 at soccer. Why? Because she understands at least what to do. She knows if she kicks it towards the other goal and can run faster than the other girls and kick it in the goal, she'll score. And that's good for the team. She understands that. 90% of the other girls have no concept of what the game is supposed to be. So she went out there and scored 3 times in the first half. And instead of running up the score and celebrating my kid, I put her on defense for the rest of the game. And I told her, your job now is to let your friends try to score. So you got to kick it down into them. She's like, okay, I can do that. Whereas I've played teams who just like keep scoring, keep scoring, keep scoring. I was like, what is the goal here? And so my biggest thing was, and I tell this to the parents, the first conversation I ever have when I have a team practice is not with the kids. They don't care. They don't need to know this part. It's with the parents. Like, you guys will determine whether your kid wants to play this game or not. Not me. I'm going to be strict. I'll have lines drawn in the sand. We do this. We don't do this. But we're going to make sure is that at the end of the year, when you ask your son or daughter if they want to play this again, I hope the answer is yes. And that's our big focus.
Do you ever get any pushback from parents being like more intense than the kids?
I don't get pushback directly, but they'll be on the sideline and they'll step out a little bit, and I'll go directly to them. And I'm not like a confrontational, but I'll go directly to them. Like, hey, listen,
send your brother in.
Yeah. Like, listen, this is not what you're here for. Okay. I will coach this team. You will take care of your child, right? He is not your athlete. He's your son. He's my athlete. And so you do your job. And if we have that relationship, the parent-coach relationship is just as important as the coach-athlete relationship.
Couldn't agree more.
And so I just want to make sure is that and it's hard because there's so many parents that live vicariously through their kids. And it's usually the parents that didn't get it right the first time.
And the parents that put the value in the win of that event rather than see it as a symbolic process toward outside of sport.
Right.
So, and I say that, don't know if you've heard of him, Mark Cavendish. He's the world
one.
No, he's
the cyclist, the sprinter, right?
Yes. So he's from the Isle of Man. He's arguably after Amy Kringle, of course, he's the most famous Manx athlete ever, right? So he's the greatest ever Tour de France cyclist. Some would say.
Green jersey.
Yes. He began his cycling career at the National Sports Centre. There's 84,000 people on the Isle of Man, but there's a sports centre here. And his first ever bike race was on a BMX with no gears, and he beat all the other kids. He had a natural talent and an aptitude towards it. He was just this once in a generation bloody gifted boy who wanted to do it as well. Went up the ranks and became Mark Cavendish. Now, my son enjoys bike riding his bike, and we take him down to this weekly sort of event they do, and they've named it because he's been knighted now, so it's this Mark Cavendish Raceway, and it's all named after him. And we get there about 15 minutes before the race has begun. Other parents have bought their kids £1,000 worth, like thousands of dollar bikes, those helmets that are like the racing helmets, the proper kit. They're lining up, they're visualizing this half a mile track. An hour before, they get in the front row. The parents are tell them to close their eyes and visualize the turns. It's a circle. It's one big circle.
Right.
We're getting there. My boy wears Crocs because he's just been out playing on the beach. And the thing is, he doesn't do too badly. You know, he's not winning these races, but he's just enjoying himself. And for me, I've learned that through coaching kids over the last decade at CrossFit, and seeing the parents, seeing the negative effect it can have, but also seeing the kids that have had this positive environment to train in, that have flourished and have done so well. And sort of like Kringle had an amazing upbringing and was able to do what she wanted. She tried athletics. She was a really good swimmer. She was a really good cyclist. She did everything. And at the end of it, she was such a generalist and had this incredible aptitude for everything that she then found CrossFit on the island and then started to excel in it. And
now we're seeing it.
And the parents, ironically, the parents that go so hard on their kids for the end result, comparing themselves using the same tools that they saw someone else do,
right?
They miss the entire point. And their kids are never going to get to the top. Your kids need to enjoy it first and foremost, especially at such a young age.
Right.
And it crushes you, doesn't it, when you see it? And you know,
the the end result is the biggest problem I see in kids sports is the focus on that. The focus on the win, the focus on the score, the focus on the stats. That is the last thing I tell my son I care about. Mm-hmm. It's the last thing I tell my team I care about. Like they're at halftime, like, what's the score? It's like, score doesn't matter. And in my head, I was like, it's fucking 5-2.
Yeah.
But the thing I try to drive home with my son is that if you're so focused on celebrating the end result, you are focusing on the wrong thing. Because maybe when you're 7, you've got the talent because you matured faster than everybody, or your parents have been giving you private soccer lessons since you were 3. And you score every time you touch the ball. Your team won every game. Yeah. And all you celebrated was that. Like, what's going to happen when those wins don't happen anymore? What's going to happen if everybody catches up to your son because both your parents are 5'7", you were 5'3" at 8, and all of a sudden 6'2", 5'9" mom and dad's kid just grew up and put on 20 pounds of muscle when he went to middle school. Like all of this is going to change when they get to middle school, and it's all going to change again when they get to high school. And 1% of these kids might go to college playing that sport.
Yeah.
What I focus with my son, it's purely on effort and understanding of what he's supposed to do. That's it. So it's like, hey, did you try as hard as you could today? Yes. Awesome. I'm so proud of the effort at which you gave. And for him, I tell him, I was like, you can do all the right things. You can try as hard as you can. You can put yourself in the best position to succeed, and you still might not score. Or you might have dropped that ball, or your team lost. Then what do you hang your hat on? You did all the right things. Doesn't mean you're going to win. Doesn't mean you're going to score. Doesn't mean you're going to catch the ball every time it's thrown to you. So what do you hang your hat on if all you focus is the end result? But when you go to bed, he's like, hey, what are you most proud of today? He's like, I worked as hard as I could, and I almost scored today. Like, my son has never scored a goal in like soccer that I've coached. He's scored goals when I've missed the games.
Oh no.
But he's been so close, and we celebrate that. And I'm not like celebrating, this isn't like participation award stuff.
No, big difference.
Like, this is the whole point, because success is not guaranteed no matter what you do. And so you need to celebrate. It's like celebrating the process versus the end result. Because that's life. You could do everything right. You could, and bad things could still happen to you.
Yep.
And so that's my biggest thing I try to give my son and the other kids. Whereas everyone else is so focused on wins, losses, and the scoreboard and the stat sheet. It's crazy. At 7.
Yeah. It ties in with a thing, though, of just slowing down and enjoying the present. Enjoy the moment. And that's one thing I always tell. It's like, as soon as I give them, I don't know, what do you call them? Popsicle, right? I give them one of them and they go, what's for dinner? I'm like, fuck it. Enjoy what's in front of you now, right? Yeah. Enjoy it isn't even in your mouth yet. Enjoy that, and then we'll talk about the next thing, right? And it's constantly this chase of what's next, and it's just culture because of the on-demand shit. It is, and I feel quite lucky that all of us 3 grew up not having that. You know, it wasn't on demand all the time. You know, you couldn't just pick up something out your pocket and go online or have a song. You know, if you wanted to buy an album, you got to cycle to the record shop, buy an album, cycle home, put it on, and then rewind it when you had your favorite song. It totally different bloody way of life, and I don't blame kids for demanding that way of life because it's all they know. But it's down to us as parents and coaches and adults to expressly make them understand that it's much better to earn something in the long run and enjoy it at the time than it is just to get that end result. Because there's no enjoyment in that. And Jon and I were talking about this the other day with someone, it's why super wealthy kids that are born into wealth and money will never, ever understand the value of $1, having not earned it. They
Right.
can spend it, but when they spend it, it doesn't mean anything as much as the kid that's earned it or the adult that's had to earn their way up to that. It's just not the same thing. And again, it's not the kid's fault. They were born into that, but it's the parents distributing that wealth to them. They can do it in a way where they can learn that. And it's the same with physical endeavors and earning and understanding that pride and that passion that you've done it.
Mm-hmm. I had that thought this morning filling up my car with gas. It was it's so weird that you mentioned that. Is that I'm not saying I grew up poor, right? But I definitely didn't grow up privileged, and I'm so thankful for that. Every day I am so thankful of the era of which I got to be raised in, without the internet, without cell phones. But it was so funny feeling, because all I did is I walked up to the pump, scanned my card, and just put the fuel line in my car and just sat in my car and just waited for the click. Whereas I was like, man, in high school, I would be sitting there being like, how much gas can I afford to put in my car right now?
Yeah.
And I'd be
that was me when I got my first
in my wallet. Yeah. And it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I had that moment where I just sat back and I'm like, man, how lucky am I to be in a position now where I don't even have to, there wasn't even a thought. I just just fill it up. I don't even care what the number is.
No.
And I'm not saying it's because I'm rich, but I'm not counting pennies anymore.
Do you try and get it on 000 as well?
Every time. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Accuracy test. Yeah. The ATMs where you get your money out, the cash money. When I was a teenager, my early 20s, and into the mid 20s, it was that drum roll of, have you got enough money to get this money? I was like, come on, have it. And he goes, yeah. And you hear the cash starting to go. I'm like, yeah, I've got it. Don't have to worry about that anymore, to an extent. But yeah, it's funny how you have those moments where you realize, do you know what? And in that moment, the reality of that is that you've earned that yourself. You've earned that right to put in an extra $5 of gas because you fancy it.
Yeah.
As opposed to 15, or what's the minimum amount I can put in here?
Yeah. I was like, can I get, 20 kilometers of gas just so I can drive around for the week? Deal. It's it's so funny that I had that. Yeah.
All right. Being thankful, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the theme of today, isn't it? Really. Being thankful what you've got and what you've earned.
For sure. And
so funny you say about the failure, the process and that, because I homeschool the kids. I said to you when you were on the other show, homeschool the kids. I'm very aware that I spend a lot of time with my kids. And the worst thing in the world is me being their only influencer.
Yeah.
I need them to have other adults telling them what to do, different perspectives. There's a lot of familiarity that goes on, and I need other adults. And I know Savon talks about this a lot, but handing your kids over to another adult, a coach, it takes a lot for a parent to do that and have trust and full trust in that person. Here's a question for you, and tough question to answer. What one trait do you think that you have that allows people to have trust in you with their kids?
I don't know if outward authenticity is an exact trait.
Okay.
But what I say, I do in front of the parents, and I never waver from that. So what I tell them, I apply. Just straight, there's no coach speak here, coach speak here. It's I talk to you like I talk to your kids, and I talk to your kids like we have the same conversation. Any usual meeting I have with the kids is in front of the parents, on the bench. It's they get to see this in real time. And what you said of, I fully understand that position of the parent putting their child into my hands. That weighs on me. My son has a soccer game this afternoon. All day I stress about doing a good job to help these kids play the best best game they can, and that the parents can see that is what we're trying to do. So the weight and pressure that and the parents aren't giving it to me. That is just my own personal burden that I've given myself, because I've been the parent on the sideline watching people not help either my kid or watch them help no kids. And that's and that's why I coach my kids now. I cannot wait for the day that I don't have to do this anymore. And I don't mean have to. I should say right now I get to do these things because I know I'll never get to do this again. Because one day they'll either pick a sport or they'll be coached by, like, one day they'll go off on their own, which is what they're supposed to do. I hope for as long as I can that I can it's not about my coach these kids in a manner of which I, as a parent, I would want someone to take care of my kid. And I try to give that to every single kid with as much that I possibly can. And it's exhausting. But at the same time, as someone who's been on the outside looking in, I never want to have that feeling as a parent. And I want them to never have that feeling with me. So that's a huge thing that weighs on me when it comes to coaching the kids. So I hope they feel it. And I think they do. I have conversations with the parents all the time about that. But I am all game in whatever sport it is. Like, I am at 100% on in it, not watching, not complacent, making sure every kid gets the right amount of time. And then when the time comes, it's like, hey guys, let's go and try to win this game. We're going to put the kids in to try to get a win, because listen, kids want to win too. It's not the only thing, but they know wins and losses. And so that's for me what's really important, that they can trust me. And I like that. To me is at the number one top, is that they feel like their kids being taken care of, so they can sit back and just enjoy watching their kids play sports, instead of feel like their kids not getting enough help, attention, and support, that they have to like be overly involved in a game that they just want to watch.
I think you stick to your guns. And like you said, that authenticity piece, it's it sounds cliche when you say it out loud, doesn't it? But it's so damn true. You haven't got two sides to you.
Right.
You get what you see. And once you've proven that enough times, I think people, and you're a parent, people that you hand your kids over to, it's a big trust exercise. And there is I'm very lucky. I haven't really found that yet where I haven't been able to hand my kid over. For whatever reason, whether it's the types of sports. But the one area, and this isn't blowing our own trumpets here, but the one arena or area that I've never heard of any issues whatsoever is CrossFit Kids classes. For whatever reason that is. I've never heard any issues of people complaining that the coach wasn't good with the kids, or they didn't get a good workout or anything like that. It's always been the case. Do you do any coaching for the CrossFit Kids classes at your gym?
I have not, honestly.
No.
Yeah, unless it's just my kids in the garage.
Yeah.
Which, man, that is it's funny. It's like, it's the one, I would say, physical activity that we can all do together at a pretty, even level. All right, guys, if I'm working out in the garage and my kids are around, like, I realize that this isn't the top priority in life. And what an amazing feeling it is when they come out through the garage and they're like, Dad, like, my daughter's taking her shirt off.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to sweat. I'm like, who is this? And I don't push it on them. They just see me do this and they want to be a part of it. I can't quite play pitch and catch with my son appropriately, with baseball and with the sports yet, right? They're almost there, but we can work out in the garage together.
Yeah.
But I'm on him. I'm like, hey, listen, you got to get down there, get below parallel, stop rounding your back. Let's do it the right way. Slow down. I'm sitting on the bike, just watching him swing on rings and do burpees. And it's
what a gift.
Cool feeling.
What a gift that is to be able to to be able to watch that as something you love and know intimately, you know, and you know the feeling and you know how it's going. It's funny you say that. The other day we were sort of semi telling our boy off because he's a 6-year-old boy who's just an absolute numpty at the moment. I mean, he cracked his chin open again. We were in hospital yesterday, gluing his chin back together and all sorts of stuff. But we were sort of telling him off the other day, and I said to him, paraphrasing here, I said, if you don't do whatever it was, you got to do 500 burpees. Without any hesitation, shirt flew off. Is like, right, get a timer. I was like, unfortunately, I knew how long it would take to do 500 burpees, so we didn't go through with it, and we had to go out somewhere. But it's that lack of hesitation toward hard work. And when you see a kid just not have any issue with working hard, that's it's so damn important lesson for them to learn that we can give them that's so simple that will transfer and ripple throughout their whole life. Not being afraid of hard work.
Yeah. And failing.
Yeah, it's building that foundation, isn't it? That they're not afraid to work hard, but knowing that they can do everything that you're saying, but it still might not work out.
I think it's one of the most, and that's why I love sport. Because it's youth sports is because there's so low stakes to those negative things, right? Losing at youth sports at the end of the day means nothing as much as winning does. But man, what a lesson you can give your kids on how to handle something like that. Not handing them wins. Hey, look how easy this is. This is what life is, buddy. We just give it to Alex over here and nobody can catch him. So we're just going to keep running that play. Or it's like, hey, listen, everyone's going to get the ball. Not everyone's going to get the ball the most. And yeah, we got our asses kicked today. How do you handle that? Those opportunities is where you hope coaches take the time to there's so much life you can put into kids that is not about something more than it's supposed to be. Right. So it's like, hey, we lost. It's like you got kids crying on the side, like, hey, why are you upset? Because you didn't get what you wanted? Okay. Well, let's listen. This is what's going to happen for the rest of your life. Like, not everything's going to go the way you want it. And you're probably crying because you're so fixated on what the end result was, because that's been driven into you since you were 4. That winning is everything. Winning is the best. I love it. But man, losing is where you really start to shape true character in kids.
So it's really timely that you say that, because my son is he's the youngest, obviously. We've got another on the way. So he's going to go from the youngest to being the middle child. And it's going to be really interesting to see that transition. But my daughter, the oldest, she detests failure. It's imprinted in her DNA. She's anti-failure. And the thing that we're trying to encourage her to do at the moment is to accept you will get things wrong. And not only will you get things wrong, we wish you to get things wrong, because only then do we know how you're going to deal with it. And also that's how you learn. You eliminate the roads that aren't going to work, and you come back and you relearn. And we know this as adults, we know this as coaches, but having those conversations are hard. And about a year ago, this has been going on for a long time. She's 8 now. My wife's side are extreme athletes, elite athletes, all of them. My family aren't. We're not athletes. What was I saying? Yeah, we were doing English work, and she spelled a word wrong, and she got the eraser and rubbed it out. And bearing in mind we homeschool, so the only people that are going to see it are me, mummy, and her. And yet she's intent on rubbing it out. And I said, no, we put a cross for it. Carry on. I don't want you taking 10 minutes to rub it out. You're going to waste your time. I'm going to tell you the answer, and you're going to move on and learn from it. Carried on every time. Kept rubbing them, erasing them out. And anyway, we got in a bit of she got in a bit of a tizzy about it, crying because I, didn't let her rub it out. Anyway, she didn't know. I took a photo on my phone And I said, all right, rub it out. You can get rid of it. And she did it. I went upstairs. I printed it off on A4 paper, blew it up, and sellotaped it to the wall behind her. So it was on the wall, blown up 20 times the size that's written, the wrong answer on the wall to remind her that you're gonna get shit wrong and it's okay. And it's trickling through now. She's actually starting to get there and understand that. But man, she's so stubborn.
Yeah.
It's just it's such a hard fight, but it's worth it, I think. Perfection doesn't exist.
No.
There's no such thing as perfection. And the thing is, you can, Heidi, you can't get away with erasing things all the time. You're gonna have to stand up, and you're gonna have to come second sometimes. You're gonna have to not be podium. You're gonna have to suck it up. You're gonna have to deal with it. Go back to the drawing board and learn again. And that's life. That happens. And if you haven't prepared your kids for that, you haven't done the job you were supposed to.
Yeah.
I
would rather have a kid, and there's nothing wrong with chasing perfection, Heidi. That's not what we're saying. I think it's a Vince Lombardi quote, and I'll get this wrong, but it says perfection is unattainable, but in the pursuit of that, you find excellence. And it's so much harder to. I'd rather reel a kid in than trying to get him to do something he doesn't want to do. And that's a tough place to be as a parent and a coach, because I am putting my son in every sport imaginable so he finds something he can cling to. It's not because I want him to be an athlete. He could play every sport till he's 12 and never want to play athletics again. I'm fine. But the lessons of which he learned in that pursuit in different avenues and areas will help shape him beyond the athletic field. And so when you have someone who is so, I would say, perfection driven, that's okay, right? But the lesson you're giving them is like, you're giving them a lesson is like, it's okay to fail. In fact, in our failures, we learn the greatest lessons. Rarely ever did I succeed and be like, man, I've learned so much about myself in my winning of this thing. No. And I'll even use like a CrossFit example. It's like, I've won competitions. In fact, the first couple I ever entered, I won. And I learned a great deal. I was like, oh, okay. I've learned is like, oh, this is something that maybe I could do. But the biggest lessons I ever learned were when I got my teeth kicked in. I was like, wow, that didn't work. What do I need to do now? Versus, oh, I'm doing everything right. I'll just keep doing this one thing because I'm successful. And those and at a young age, giving your kids opportunities to fail when there's no stakes. It's way worse to fail in a collegiate game than it is in a 7-year-old soccer field. So if you can learn that lesson then, when nothing's on the line, listen, we're still going to go to dinner. I'm going to read you a book. I'm going to tell you I'm proud of you and I love you and kiss your forehead on the way to bed. I can't do that when you're a junior in college, when you're all by yourself and you're on the road. You got to take a long bus ride on the way home from a loss where it was on you. Is that where I want you to find out that lesson for the first time? It's like, man, no, I want to teach that lesson when you're 7, when it doesn't really matter.
It's disguising the lessons.
Yeah.
It's gamifying, and that's what sport is. You're gamifying.
Yeah, it's a game.
You're gamifying life lessons for enjoyment purposes, so that they learn it and then they apply it to real life. Biggest fight my wife and I had was my daughter signed up for something she needed to complete that commitment. Yeah. Now that my daughter's 24, she finally thanked me for it.
Yeah. Our big thing is we finish what we start.
Yeah. That's and correct me if I'm wrong here, and I'm pretty sure every parent in here would agree with this. One of the hardest things that I found is committing to consequences that I threaten. No empty threats.
Oh man.
You never have empty threats with your kids. If you tell them this is the consequence of this and they do this, you follow through with the consequence. You never withdraw that.
Yeah.
Because that's a dangerous path to go down. If you're demonstrating the fact that you can make these threats and then they don't have to do it because nothing will happen, it's a tough one. And you have to
so hard.
Oh man.
That's so
it's
hard.
So tough.
And ours are like simple. It's like, hey, if you do this, like you're not going to have this. Right. And it could be as simple as something like dinner or dessert.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not getting that today. I told you. If you're going to act like this, and rarely do we have those on a sports field ever. I won't put anything negative, but if it's like, hey, can we go for ice cream after the game? I was like, yes, given that you just try as hard as you can, give your best effort, and we'll go. And if it's like I quit in the middle of the game, like I have my daughter, she was 4 at the time. She's the best kid on the team for 4-year-old soccer. So let's just set the context there.
Yeah.
Is that she quit halfway through because she got frustrated because she didn't score because some girl kicked the ball, and she just quit and then sat on the bench. And she's like, hey, can we go to this? I was like, no. I was like, you quit on your whole team. Like all of these girls that you play, like you guys are all together. You didn't score. Your team did. You got to understand is like the things that you're doing now, like you have to look at all the other girls around you. They're counting on you. No one else is out here scoring goals right now. They're picking flowers and playing Ring Around the Rosie. Like you're the only one out here playing. And they love it when she does well, and she does too. But like you quit.
Yeah.
Or like you pushed a girl over because you got frustrated. That last week, some girl bumped into her. She was on a little fast break, stopped, pushed the girl back. The ref stopped the game and called her by her first name. First game of the season. I was like, the fact that your ref knows your first name already. I sat her on the sideline by mom for half the game. I was like, you ready to come back in and support? Like, this, stop making it, this isn't about you. And it's like, oh, how do you tell it to a 5-year-old? It's like, it's really easy.
Wow. I've had this exact conversation the last couple of weeks. So
with Donnie
outside, yeah, with both of them. Fucks, yeah, bloody hell, especially with Donnie though. It's the lens that he sees through. Right. Okay. So one thing, because my wife's 24 weeks pregnant, so she's very, very obvious now, and there's a bump there, and she's starting to slow down with things, and we're kind of, you know, I always say to him, you know, when it's just me and him, I'll say, I'm teaching you how to be a man later on in life, you know, and I'm being the example that I want you to be, you know. And I say to him, the first thing I think about whenever I do anything is through the lens of family. How am my family going to do with this? How does this affect everyone that I love? How I'm putting them before myself as a man, as a dad, as a father, as a husband. That's where I get my value. I feel good. I feel my purpose when I do that. And you don't get that. You might not get that as a 6-year-old boy, right? Because I took a while to learn all this shit. I was probably 30 by the time I did this.
Yeah, I'm still,
still getting there. But what you can do, Donnie, my son, what you can do is try to think about mummy first, mummy and baby. Think about them, the actions that you're taking, the consequences of this. Does it affect your family? Try and visualize every action that you're taking at the moment. How does this affect mummy and baby? And it's really worked. It's really started to work with him. He's putting her first. And we all need that, especially young boys. We need something to cling on to. We need a higher power. We need something that we check in with. And I think that's where the mum and dad role come into it, you know. And I say this all the time. I hate being bad dad. Not bad dad, not Baghdad. I hate being bad dad. I hate being the ogre. I hate being the one that has to do all the telling. All I want to do is hug them all the time. All I want to do is be Mr. Nice Guy, but I can't. It's in the role. It's in the job description.
Right.
You're the enforcer. Mum's the law. You're the enforcer. So in the house, that's what I have to do. And I've explained to them, I don't enjoy that, but I have to do it. That's my role. Now, what's your role? And I love giving them roles. They have tasks, they have purpose. And kids with sport, again, bringing it back to sport, it gives them value and purpose.
Yeah, dude, there's so many times, speaking of just failure, I feel like I fail constantly as a father. There's been times where I've been in bed for like an hour, not sleeping, and I'll get out of bed and go into my son's room and just like wake him up just to be like, hey man, I love you, dude. Like, I know you probably don't feel like I did by the way maybe I handled you today. I'll do the same thing with my daughter. Like, I will, and I think that's the biggest thing, just like a pure parenting perspective, is that you have to show your kids that you can acknowledge when you've made a mistake. And when you can do something like that, there's a trust bond that starts to get developed, is that that opens up a more clear path of communication between you and the kids, where like they'll call me out on my bullshit. It's like, we don't swear in the house. Right. So if he's like, Dad, like if I say something, he's like, Dad, I'm like, you're right. Like giving your kids that affirmation, like, you are correct, I was wrong, builds a new level in that relationship. It's so interesting to do that. And so whenever I make a mistake, and what has really helped was my son has a incredible ability to tell me how I made him feel. And dude, that is probably the hardest thing. And so this was, I want to say this was, it was probably last week in his first soccer game, where he was just lost on the field and fucking around, and I was not happy about it in the moment. And I'm so much harder on him. Like, I will have infinite patience with other children, not my own. And I think that's where the other parents see, is like, I will make sure you guys see that I'm going to coach the shit out of my child, and I will be the nicest person in the world to yours, unless they're really, screwing up. And before bed, he was like about to cry. I was like, hey, what is wrong? He's like, you made me feel like the worst soccer player in the world today.
That's like when your mom tells you that she's not upset with you, but she's just disappointed.
It's like, dad saying he's disappointed. There's dad saying, I'm disappointed in you. And then there's your son saying, you made me feel like this.
Yeah.
And I got down on my knees, because he's not like got down on my knees begging. I'm like, I got down to his eye to eye, and apologized, and just told him, I was like, apologized and thanked him at the same time, because I was like, I want you to know how important it is to me that you tell me how I make you feel. Which, it's wild for a 7-year-old boy to sit there and articulate something like that better than I can. I mean, any fight I've ever gotten my wife is usually like, you do this. When it really is, this is the way you made me feel. I'm not saying you're being bad. I'm saying you made me feel like the worst husband in the world.
Yeah.
Without telling them, like highlighting maybe a mistake that they made. Unintentionally or intentionally, doesn't matter. It's how what their actions made you feel. Like, that's where the conversation can come from. So when he comes like that, bro, that fucked me up for a couple of days.
Hard.
Yeah.
We're trying to teach Adam about feelings. My son's 11 going on 12, but he's autistic, and he doesn't articulate his feelings very well, but he can show his emotions in other ways.
Yeah. I mean, what guy does, honestly.
Yeah, we're trying to get him now to like speak about that rather than show it as much. And he's getting so much better with it. And see, when he's upset and I know it's my fault, that's it's the worst feeling in the world. It
is the worst. And it's a good check, because you have to remember what, like, even like how you present something to your child, how it presents in your head, it doesn't really matter. It's how they perceive what it is that you gave them. Right. And so I was like, man, I need to really be careful, because I react in the moment just like anybody else does. And I'm not coming from this conversation of youth sports and kids and parenting from a place of like high and mighty. Like, this is all from personal experience and what I've messed up. So I'm not articulating like, oh, I do all this right. I'm like, no, guys, I'm only giving this, hey, this is the best way to do it, because I haven't done it that way. I've done it the wrong way so much more than I've done it the right way. And that is one thing. Like, he has his second game tonight, and I'm very hyper aware of like how I push him in the game, and relative to his teammates, because I don't want him to feel like he's treated differently. Like, you don't get on him when he misses the ball. I was like, oh shit, you're right.
It's it's funny how do you think I don't want to psychoanalyze. I'm not Facundo, right? So I won't try and be a psychoanalyst right here.
Darling, give me your 3 favorite things you like to teach your children.
Yeah. Do you feel, and you don't have to go into specifics, do you feel like you've been able to apply learnings in your fathering that you took as negative from the way that your dad was with you?
Yeah.
I.e., was there something that his behavior toward you that you really found hurtful, or as adulthood you realize it was his way of being a dad and no one teaches you this and that kind of thing? But is there any lessons that you feel like you've learned from that you apply to parenting?
That is one of the hardest things to do, is to overcorrect what you went through as a kid, right? Because if you overcorrect from the perspective of which you were taking versus the perspective of which it was being given to you, that's one thing you're going to have to unlock as you get older. So for my dad, is that like, there is nothing negative I hold from the way my dad coached me or raised me. Zero. Okay. There are certain things where I was like, hey, and I remember oftentimes, usually it's when I'm getting in trouble, right? So it's like when I'm screwing up as a kid, the way I was disciplined, in the moment, I'm like, man, I don't like the way I'm being disciplined right now, because maybe like I don't want to say the worst thing I did, but like there was a time I was young. I think it was in 5th grade, where we had a teacher. She was great with me. She got basically left halfway through, got a new teacher. And for whatever reason, this teacher hated my guts, like legitimately just had it out for him. And I'd get folder signs, and we'd have folder stamps or stickers, and like get in trouble. And it's like, I would get so many, and I'd never been in trouble to this degree ever. And it was so much that I tried to hide it, because I thought I could hide it somehow from my parents. Like lie to them for an entire year, and then the printed report card comes out, and I have like the lowest conduct grade you can get. And the whole lesson there was like, it wasn't that I got in trouble at school, is that I was lying about it.
Yeah.
And the amount of trouble I got in for that summer was so much because of the lying and the hiding. But I was more upset because my parents didn't understand, like, I was getting bamboozled on the other end of this. There was so much unfairness in my head. And so I think the only thing would be, and this is where I still am working on getting better at, is seeing the other side of the coin of the situation which we're in. And that's really it. And my dad did it sometimes. It's like, hey, what happened here? Where's it? Like, there's 2 sides to every story. There's 8. There's right. Like, and it, depending on your mindset on the day, could change the story of which it was dictated to you. What I need to do a better job of is getting the big picture first before reacting to the situation. That would really be the only one. Because the way that translates into sports is that I will tell my son or any kid what to do, and they'll be like, got it. And I'm like, okay, you got it. They don't have it. They have no clue what you just told them. But they're going to be like, yes, coach, I got it. And then totally do it. And then I'll come back and I'm like, I'll be frustrated. I frustrate and get mad every once in a while, but I get mad at because of the execution of what we're trying to do, not necessarily like something that like they're bad at.
Yeah.
Or school. And I'm like, hey, we just talked about this. He's like, I know. I was like, then why? And then I find out is like, hey, I told you to go right after 10 steps. He's like, I thought, and they'll just be like, honestly, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, then why'd you say yes? Right. My first question is like, hey, did you understand what I was telling you? And they'll be so afraid to say no.
Yeah.
But it's funny because adults will just say yes even when they don't understand. I don't coach kids, but I find adults say that yes, and then 2 weeks down the line, you check in with them to find out what they're doing, and they're like, I don't understand X, Y, and Z. I'm like, we fucking went over this,
right? But I assume when you tell me yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah,
and that'll happen with my son in school, where say we see a word and they'll say he's like, I was like, wait, do you know what this word actually means? He's like, no. I was like, well, no wonder you don't understand what we're talking about. You're just saying you got it. So I think taking a step back and really trying to not analyze, but just like understand is like, Do you just not even have a clue of what I just told you? I know I told you to stay in here, and if the ball comes on the right side, right defender goes, left defender gets behind him. You're like, got it, coach. But at the end of the day, they're like, I have no fucking clue what he's talking about. And so if I get mad because you said you understood it, but really you truly did not get that, like that's where I need to get better. And not to say my dad didn't do that all the time, but it's just one of those things where I recognize as young that he didn't understand a lot of the environment that I was in, that I was like, this was my world and I was reacting to it. So I just need him to understand the world that I was in.
Yeah.
So I need to do a better job of that with my kids.
Every now and again, there'll come a situation where I'll be talking to my boy, and we've all had this. We'll be talking to my kid, and I will say words, and it will be my dad talking. And the issue there is that I'm then faced with this quandary, this dilemma. Either I have to accept that my childhood memory was wrong and my dad was correct, or my son is correct right now and I'm wrong now. So either me as a kid was right or me as an adult is right, but therefore one of us was wrong. And every now and again that happens. And when faced with that truth, I like to think that the child is right. So I was right I was right when I was a kid, and my son is correct, because those strong and powerful emotional feelings and reactions that you had as a kid meant something. Yes. If you still have that reaction, it meant something to you 30 fucking 3 years ago. That meant something to me, and it still does. And like you said, putting yourself out of the 42-year-old, going back in that boy's shoes and realizing the hardest part for me, I think, is holding him to the standard of a 6-year-old.
Right.
Not a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
I have these really high expectations, and I'm like, dude, he's 6. Like, he's 20 years away from being fully formed up here yet. You know, so don't rush to get him there. Just, you know, try and have a little bit of understanding.
It's tough. I've so often I'll say something to my son and I'm like, damn, that I remember my dad saying that to me. And it's funny, as you get older, you start to really understand your parents even more. Like, I find myself, like, I got so blessed with my childhood. Like, I couldn't, like, to a point, it's like, man, I'd love my dad to coach my kids. Like, I would love my dad to coach my kids. Right. That, because then I know I was like, hey, I can sit back and just enjoy watching my kid play a game. I would like to do that one day, hopefully. Right. But it's, I get an opportunity every once in a while too, is to really understand how lucky I got because of the way he was raised. Like, my dad's dad spent more time in prison than he did out of prison.
Okay.
Like, my dad left the family as the youngest kid of 6 and went to college on his own and really never saw his parents again until later. Like the fact that my dad turned out to be the dad he was with how he was raised, man, what an incredible turnaround he had, and like where he came to be. And so maybe a lot of the things where he was super hard on was because of what he went through, and whether or not it was presented in the nicest way possible, he was so dead set on never having me to experience that or see a flash of maybe what he had to deal with. And there's a reaction there. And so I think the best thing we can do as fathers from learning as sons is take the best of what we had as a kid, modify a little bit of what we wish we would have had differently, but have a bigger understanding of where it was all coming from and not what was presented, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The reason I asked about that is that we were talking about something that led to that question, You said about waking your son up in the middle of the night and talking to him. I cannot let them go to sleep without having told them I love them, give them a hug, tell them good night, and I love them to bits, and I'm your dad, through and through, no matter what day. And every now and again, we'll be having a really shit time before bed, and I have to walk off. I have to gather my thoughts, and I have to think to myself, don't regret, because in an hour's time when they're asleep, you are going to be sat there wishing you had said, those words.
Yeah.
And especially earlier this week, my friend from a previous box that I was at 10 years ago, her 20-year-old son, who I used to coach CrossFit kids to 12 years ago, 20-year-old, he died in his sleep. He had sudden epileptic fit, sudden death through epilepsy. Never had epileptic fit in his life. And seeing that pure heartbreak. You cannot, it's the worst thing in the world. As any parent, it's the worst thing you could ever imagine happening. And then something as trivial as a little tiff around not doing his English work, or not scoring a goal at soccer, or not putting a little bit more effort in on his bike or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot more important things than scoring a goal or sport, but we do take a lot of value and lessons from it.
Yeah. Golly. I ran into at my gym. This was probably, I want to say it's over 10 years ago. We had a member who had 2 kids, older boy, younger girl. And like that, the younger girl just died in her sleep. And I haven't seen this mom probably maybe a longer time since then. She'd been around the gym, and and I saw her for the first time in over a decade. I want to say a weekend ago, and I was riding bikes with my kids, and we were just having a conversation, and she had never seen my kids before. We were close as far as coach and athlete, and she was older than I was, and I was, I wasn't even married yet when all of this was happening. And I remember talking to her, but she was just staring at my kids the whole time. And then when we left, I realized this was the last time, when that happened, her kids were the same exact age as my kids. Right? My daughter was the same age as her daughter. They look very similar. Our kids look very similar. My son's got brown hair. Her boy had brown hair and freckles. The girl had red hair. My daughter has red hair. It was, going away, I realized oh man, what a tough moment in time, but it was really cool because she was so happy to see me and the kids. And that's when I was just man, I don't think I'm going to let you guys off the couch with me today.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate. And this kind of goes with just terrible things in general in the world, or what's happened around you, is that it's unfortunate that things like that have to happen for you to appreciate what you have. But at the same time, it's we don't have to be sad the whole time, because man, if you're going to waste your time in a negative space because of it, when you should be feel like the luckiest person in the world to be able to have that time, whether it's with your kids or with your loved ones or with your family or with your friends. And that, any tragedy like that. And I think when people wallow in the negativity and be oh, you can't be happy for a while because this bad thing happened. It's I feel like that's kind of quite the opposite. Right? How you should never be happier that you have an opportunity to hold on to it. And so, but yeah, dude, the bedtime thing.
Yeah.
My dad used to do that too. Whenever I get in trouble, I'd be in my room, and then an hour later, he'd come back in, and he would just be hey, listen, I only get so mad because I love and care about you. And he was right. If I was being a shithead kid. Like
Mm.
he's going to put me in my place. I'm going to get in trouble, whether it's like getting whatever, belt, spank, grounded, something taken away from me. It's because he doesn't want me to go down that path. And then he comes in, he's like, hey, this is the position I was coming from. This and like he would always make amends on the tail end of it, but he had to have some time away. Just like I needed some time to reflect on the situation too.
There's the difference, is that I had to learn that the hard way. My dad never came in an hour later.
Oh.
And I've learned whenever I'm arguing with the boy or I'm telling him off before bed, I just see myself and I'm like, don't let him have that experience that you had.
We were very similar.
Yeah. It would kill me to have him laying in bed crying, you know, thinking dad's not coming. Like the idea of that, you know, and it's just learnings. Every generation has its way of learning. Hopefully they have their own way of developing and learning, being a better dad, and mum, obviously, but we're talking about dads here. So, but yeah, tough. I had Heidi's emotional today.
Yeah. If my son ever went to bed thinking I didn't love him,
yeah,
that's my like top fears as a parent.
That's I literally finish every day, and Jacob, like, well, there's multiple people in this chat that'll be able to tell you. I always send a selfie. It's me lying in bed with that sounds weird, but it's me lying in bed reading Adam's his stories in bed.
Yeah,
because he's got a big double bed. He never settled in his own bed, so he's now 12. He does now, but even though he does, I still go in and read his story and then lie in bed with him until he falls asleep, and then I get back out of the bed, because that's just how I finish every day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Even if I'm home late, I'll go up and my wife will be in the bed, or my partner, as the chat will say, and I will and I'll swap with her and to let her get out, because I always like to go in.
That's awesome.
Like, I'll always wake him up just so he knows that I'm like home. Yeah.
I saw this I saw this video. It helped put things in like life into perspective a little bit, because we get so captured by the moment. Like, this is forever. This argument I'm having with my kid who's just melting down. Like I didn't have a fun day. I'm like, bitch, we went everywhere today. And you were terrible at dinner. And now the last thing I want to do is sit down and just like be your buddy. I just want to slam the door on my way out. Someone saw this video or made this video. For starters, I think it's completely an unfair point of view. However, it's also a very sombering point of view. And it was like, all right, you're 80 years old, and for 24 hours, you wake up in your younger body, and you've got your 5-year-old boy and your 3-year-old girl, right? And, it's like, treat every day like that. I'm like, that's unfair, okay?
Yeah.
This fucker was terrible today.
Yeah.
And you need to know it was terrible. However, how I maybe end that day could be from that perspective. Is like, yeah, that's true. When I'm 80 or when I'm 60, the kids are out of the house, they have their own families, and I'm an afterthought, which is, if you do your job right, that's what's supposed to happen. Man, I would take his worst day at 3 years old for just, so it's like when they're having just a terrible day, I'm like,
yeah,
okay, this sucks. I'm angry, but every once in a while I can catch myself, not every time. Like, even on this day, I know. So, except newborns. Fuck newborns. I hate newborns. I hated that phase. My mom was like, you'll miss this. I'm like, no, I won't. This is the worst.
Remember, Jake's expecting one.
Yeah. But
you
that
get a
was
free pass on hating that moment in time.
That was going to be my answer. Like, we got to a point, and there's a definite reason why people have a third child when their kid's like 5 or 6. Like, you get 7 and 5 and then 1 or 0.
I've had 2 groups of friends that have done that. We are right there now. My wife will not touch each other for a year.
It's because they go to school, or they're past that age of like really major influence. I've heard Jordan Peterson say this about 4-year-olds. You've got them till they're 4, and then they're basically them, right? there's a definite reason why that third comes along when they're like 7 and 5. There's a big gap because you get to the point you're like, I want that back. I want that experience again. I want it.
There. I'm right there right now. And I'm like, but then I'll my friends who are having that right now, the 7 and 5, and then the third one comes in. I'm like, good God. And I'm like, ooh, maybe. And then I go over there and like the baby's crying. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm out.
Yeah. See, but you've got to get out of jail free card there. You've got to give mum and baby space. So you've got to take 7 and 5-year-old out for the day, or out, and you've got to be with them. Give them a bit of space. So it kind of balances out,
I get it. I see it now, especially now that the youngest is like 1 or 2 or 3 now. I'm like, oh damn. I get it. I do. I get it.
Just keep having one every sort of 5 or 6 years.
Oh man.
I coached young lad, 16-year-old, on the weekend at a powerlifting competition. This is second. Very, very different event to his first one. First one went incredibly well. Every lift was good. He got PB or PRs at the competition. It went really well, and he absolutely loved it. Second one, he learned a lot, put it that way. It didn't go perfectly. He had setbacks. He had he won't mind me saying, he won't watch this, but he had a full-blown panic attack during the bench press. Damn. And I was lifting as well, 6 lifters after him. He came off, and part of the reason why he got into this, he got swept up in the moment, was because he and I had a disagreement on the weight that he should go for next at the platform. So as his handler, as his coach, he's 16. It's my choice, the weight that he lifts next. And he didn't like that I had him lighter than he would have wanted to. He's very used to getting his own way in life. And it's a very harsh... Child? No, he's not. He's a second. He's the youngest, but he's incredible family, like insanely generous family, and they'll do anything there for everyone. But he learned the hard way that he doesn't get to do what he wants all the time. Mega successful kid academically and very nice kid, but he learned, it's his first time doing sport, and he's learned the hard way. But his mum talked to me today, and she said he's a different boy this week, since the weekend, already applying that knowledge, understanding that he's going to fail. And it is beautiful. Nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing to do with me. I was just there witnessing it. He went through this process of major failure. And at a powerlifting meet, I don't know if you've been to one, Chase. Obviously, you've been to the games and you've done a lot of stuff. Dead quiet room, 100 people. You're in fucking spandex. You've got referees judging you, and you're lifting maximal load. It's a very, very, very intimidating environment for a 16-year-old boy to be in. And for to be what felt like, not humiliated, but put in his place in front of a room full of people, that's tough for a 16-year-old lad. But what an incredible lesson. And that's all through sport in a controlled environment that he's now applying and going through. So yeah, that was the
I'd rather have that lesson of humility in a sport than say driving around with my friends in a car when I shouldn't be at night.
Yep. Yes.
Like sport is the best place you can fail with the greatest lessons you can learn in a setting of which isn't going to permanently affect the rest of your life in a negative way.
And I think that is why we do need to frame workouts at CrossFit in the gym in a sporting frame.
100%.
It's the same thing for adults. We need that accountability. We need that framework of lesson learned every time. Because if it's just, let's go for a half an hour AMRAP, scores don't go up, just get sweaty and have a good time. Yeah, I get it. There's some value there, but it's not the lessons. Yeah.
Time and place. That was my favorite part of coaching in the gym and programming is that whiteboard talk where you're like, this is the goal. This is what we're trying to do. And then you have these adults nervous or scared about a workout on the board. And I had this conversation yesterday on the CrossFit podcast talking about the standard and all that other stuff. And it's like, listen, here's what you're trying to do. And like, I don't think I can do that. I was like, then let's see if we can. And like, two things are going to happen. You're going to succeed and you're going to do something you didn't think was possible. Imagine how many opportunities in your life where this happens and you don't take the path to the left. And today you take the path to the right. What type of like confidence can you build? And it says like, oh, I did my wall balls unbroken. I have more confidence. Like, no, you did something you didn't think you could possibly do. How many other limitations have you set on yourself outside of this gym? Now you have the confidence that's all in your head. Give it a shot, right? Or I knew I couldn't do it, but I failed. You're like, yes. Now, what is the end result of this failure? Not as bad as you thought it was going to be because of that happening. All right. So now let's just keep taking the chance. Let's do things we don't think are possible. Let's just go fall flat on our face and realize life doesn't end at the point of failure. Arguably, that's where it begins. And so many people are so risk averse because of the fear of failure that there's no better place to fail than a CrossFit gym. And there's no better place to learn failure or to learn those life lessons. And that's why I take coaching and youth sports so seriously, is that we should be teaching them how to do things, not forcing them for end results. Processes, lessons learned. And when I see coaches not doing that, and they're so hyper, it's like, oh, my kid's going to play select whatever. I was like, why? You're so hyper focused on performance and end results, and you're not giving them the lessons that they need to learn in a setting that doesn't matter, that they can carry on so far beyond the soccer field in 7th grade or when they're 7. And I think it just, that's why I'm in this position, because I didn't see it with people around my kids. Not to their fault or detriment. Maybe they just didn't know or understand. It's like, but that's just where I live. I coach lacrosse. I have never played lacrosse in my life. Why am I coaching? Because nobody else was going to do it. They asked for help. All right. I can figure out the game. I've played every sport growing up my entire life. All right. What are the rules? Great. I know how the game's played. They're 7. I don't have to teach them how to cradle when they're 7. Right? But we're going to learn how to, we're going to give our best effort. We're going to do as much as we can. Like my girls yesterday, they were so bad last week. Like none of them kicked the ball. They just watched it go by. So before the game, I was like, girls, the only thing I care that you do today is you kick the ball. I don't even care where it goes. And there's times where they would kick it and it would just go nowhere. And I'm like, what the? Nope.
Yeah.
That was better than last week.
Yeah, well done. Yeah.
Last week we're just watching it go into the goal. And so it's like, give them something so simple to accomplish. Like, all right, first brick stacked. We kicked the ball. Now it's maybe week 2. Let's get more consistent on contact. Great. Now let's direction it a certain way. We have 8 weeks to just get you guys better at something so small. Now we got to go undefeated this year. So for what? There's no there's no playoffs. There's no championship. There's no banner. The post game stuff, like I think coaching is one thing. The post where parents have to be careful is you will make your child fall out of love with whatever they're doing on the car ride home. That is where every kid will quit.
Yeah.
Not on the field, not on the court, not in the pool when it's happening. That car ride home is so important. And so as a coach, we talked about the conversation I had with the parents. Let me coach your kids. Please be their parents on the sideline. And what is a parent's job? Right? Make sure your kids may be paying attention, right? But you should be supporting them. The last thing because I'm telling you, I will give it to them on the field. This was your job. We didn't do the job. Now we need to learn how to do our job better. I will do that. Your job is to make sure they don't fall out of love with the game on the car ride home. They don't need a coaching lesson from dad or mom. That's where the joy of sports is killed. on the postcard ride home. Just be mom and dad. I'll be whatever it is I need to be to get your kid where I know you want them to go. That's the other thing. I'm not chasing myself.
That's something that both my parents were very good at, was just like, I was really hard on myself I played tennis and rugby and stuff when I was a kid, and I was like I was an emotional kid. Wow. And my mum and dad were very good at just kind of like, as long as I had fun, they didn't care. Like, they didn't care what sport I played, and they didn't care any of the results, because they didn't play sports, but they were happy to take me to whatever I wanted to do.
That's cool.
So I was hard on myself, which I fell out of love with sports, but that was caused by me, but not my parents.
Yeah. I would hate for a kid to fall out of love with sports before it even starts to be sports.
Yeah.
Like, we're playing games right now, guys.
Did you say your kids do jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't coach that.
No. I was going to say Heidi's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. She hardly tells anyone. But she coaches kids classes as well. She gets a lot from it, and she said there's been a whole new cohort of kids coming in, which is awesome. I guess it's the start of the school year, and they're back and they're starting clubs and that kind of thing. And I don't know about you, but there's a very, very unique learning from jiu-jitsu. It's for kids, it's one of the only full contact sports they can do as kids, and ironically, we play soccer in our country, and that's full contact from the age of 0, right? But rugby, which is obviously our version of sort of NFL, of football, there's no contact till they're 11.
Yeah, it's like flag football.
Okay.
Yeah, flag football. Yeah. But we play full contact football, soccer, and jiu-jitsu for the kids that want to do it as a young age. Now, my kids do jiu-jitsu 3 times a week because they love it. They started off on once a week. Because we homeschool, we did it in the daytime for 2-on-1 with a coach, and their coach Miles, his name's Miles. He has developed this relationship with them that I'm a little bit jealous of, because he's the man for the job. Like, he's so damn good with kids because he's got this calmness. The jiu-jitsu coaches have got this calmness about them. Not Heidi today.
No, I was going to say not Heidi.
but I think because they have to learn composure. You if you don't, you're fucked. Like, you are getting taken out and you're tapping, or you're getting a broken shoulder if you're not. And I've got this video. I don't know if I can put it up, but it's a video from a couple of months ago. I hope you don't mind me playing this. I won't play it all, just a little bit. I don't know how well it will come up, but my son...
Is it Donnie getting smashed?
Hang on. Sorry.
You're doing that.
Yeah, you can.
Heidi, do you think it's tripled just because of the new school year, or is there like an influx of kids coming to BJJ? Because over here, it's getting massive. Like, in kids, like one of my best friends, his daughter just went to Worlds in Dubai. She's the same age as Adam. She's 10 years old, and she's like really good. Like, she was over competing at the Worlds in Dubai. And there's like 60 kids that go to that class.
Wow.
And I'm from a little town in the north of Scotland. It's huge here now.
I got my son into...
Sorry, it's on now. Hang on. So at this point, he was getting really frustrated.
Yeah.
The fact that his sister was just taking him down, and he couldn't get anywhere near her. Now Miles pulled him aside. And at this point, his frustration, he just started crying. It just boiled over, and he was just crying his eyes out.
Yeah.
In a sec, Miles walks him over. I told Athena to come over with me. Donnie, he walks off with Donnie. He has a talk with him. just between the two of them, they're talking about points, not worrying too much about it.
Yeah.
And then I thought I fast forwarded it. Hang on. So we're talking to Donnie here about the fact that we're there together. We're here, they're learning. It's his training partner. It's a safe environment.
Mhm.
He's talked him down. He's de-escalated, and then it was basically give your sister a hug and get on with it. But there's this calmness and this lesson that kids can learn at jiu-jitsu, and I guess it's all contact sports to a degree.
Mhm.
You do not get that in any other sport.
No.
Jiu-jitsu is completely unique with that. And I've never done jiu-jitsu. I don't claim to be that way, and I really see the value in that kind of thing. And the values there are completely unique.
Yeah. My so my son's been doing it for the last couple of years. The reason why I put him into it is because my son is very risk averse. He's very sweet. He's non-confrontational. He doesn't like contact. He's not a rough and tough rumbling kid, especially for the oldest, which is interesting because like I was. And I was like, listen, I'm going to put you into this because one, at the end of the day, I was like, I need you to get used to contact. Like, I need you to get roughed up a little bit. Like he won't climb anything. I was like, dude, just jump off a fucking roof. Like that's what I did. Yeah. This umbrella for sure will hold me. Climb a tree, like I need you to fall and get hurt. It's just like, you won't do it. And then it's like, I need you to understand how to regulate your emotions. And I want you to be able to stick up for yourself because you're in a position now, the way you are, just as the sweet child you are, like you will be taken advantage of, and it'll be happening soon. That's just the nature of the world and kids. And to see him grow, and he's not good at it, but he really enjoys doing it. And he's not afraid of contact anymore on any athletic field. It doesn't bother him. He has gained confidence in himself and what he's doing and the way he carries himself. And it's really cool to see. And it's funny how you mentioned the calm demeanor of his instructor. Is like his coach or instructor, like Rob, he is so chill. Like to where you'd think he's on drugs the whole time. He's so calm. The way he talks to the kids and the way he encourages them, also how strict he is, which I love. Like they'll just take kids off the mat. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like the discipline that it requires. And I love that. And I can't wait for my daughter to start for a variety of along the same reasons. She has no issues like with contact, but just as a girl in general, I want her to be able to be confident in herself. And as a father too, is like the last thing you want is your daughter to seek out confidence in other people.
Yeah.
I think that's our biggest fear as fathers, because we were all terrible boys growing up, and I get it. If there's a bunch of me's running around, I don't want my daughter next to them. I get it. Like that was my biggest insecurity as a man, was having daughters, because I knew that like they're just boys out there doing the things. Yep. And the problem is like the biggest problem with, I would say, young girls is the lack of confidence in themselves. So they seek that out into others through actions. I was like, you don't need that, right? Like my wife does not need me around. That is why I love her. The pursuit and lengths I had to go to just to get the first date would be borderline stalking. And that is what I love. So like if my daughter can be like her mother, God, I will sleep at night wonderfully. But the thing about jiu-jitsu is or to say any martial art, when it comes to like full contact, the longer thing that I like is that it teaches so much discipline and confidence, to where it's like, oh, we're just going to teach this kid a fight. I'm like, no, we're going to teach him how not to get into fights.
Yeah, it's self-control, isn't it?
Like people who know how to fight don't want to. Not everybody, right? This isn't like a blanket statement, but I think you could even take a MMA fighter. Yeah, some of those guys just like, that's why they're MMA, because they just want to fight everybody. But like they'll know, especially when they meet someone else, they can feel that it's on that level. Like they don't want to do that, right? Usually everyone who's quick to fight has no concept of what the consequences are of that fight. people who are quick to violence and quick to fighting don't understand what that leads to.
Yep.
And
100%.
that's where I want my son to be, is to be so confident. I just want to build confidence. Like that, the thing for a father and their kids is to build confidence and independence to where they don't need you anymore. Whereas some parents, and I'm not saying like they're being wrong, is that they want to be depended on from a place of good. I want to help you with everything. What do you need? I'll solve it. Right? But there's going to be a time, no matter what, you will cease to be able to solve your children's problems. That's the beauty of parenting right now, is I can solve every single one of my kids' problems right now because they don't have big ones. You know, it's like, I'm hungry. I want to do this. Like poof.
Yeah.
Dad's the man. But what happens when we get to like, Dad, I'm sad because this person did this to me. Can I solve that problem?
Can you go and beat the shit out of an 8-year-old?
Yeah, these kids are picking on me or making fun of me at school. I was like, can I solve the problem?
Yeah.
Did I do my job well enough to allow you to solve your own problems? Are we also okay in the fact that not every problem can be solved? We also have to understand that.
Sometimes it's just shit.
Sometimes there's not. You just got to sit there and take it.
And Ben Shapiro said a little while ago, he was answering something about this, about fatherhood, and he was talking about tying laces, so shoelaces. And his son's like 7 or 8, and someone was watching him, and he said, "No, I want you to do your own shoelaces." And they said, "Why don't you do it now?" And he's like, "Well, at what point? At some point, your kid will need to learn to tie their own laces. You're not going to have a 30-year-old that calls you up and says, 'Dad, can you come and tie my laces for me?'"
Yeah.
So every step of independence and doing things and competency, you need to hand the reins over to the kid. And you cling on to that a little bit. And my way around that is to just have another child. But yeah, it's tough because you want to feel value. Your value as a dad is protect and serve.
Right.
And our way of serving is to teaching our sons and our daughters about this kind of thing. And like you said, and people talk about this all the time online and on podcasts, but the greatest lesson you can give your son and your daughter is how you treat your wife.
Yes.
Because that's how that's where the bar is for them, for men to treat her. And it's the same for your son, how to treat women. That's how you treat your wife, his mum. That's how he will learn about how to treat women. That's the biggest example you can give them for when they're adults. But lead by example. And if and as a coach, you're kind of you're taking on the role for an hour or however long away from the parents to do that, and you're giving them another perspective. So that's another role of the coach, which is tough.
It is, and that's where a lot of that weight I talked about earlier comes from. Is there's also a fine line. It's like, are you just gonna be like hardcore coach, like yell at them based off their performance? Like, are you gonna just like come like there's such a dance between that hard line versus like soft lesson.
Someone asked earlier, and I won't have it too long for you because I know we've taken up an hour and a half, no, an hour and 3/4 of your time.
I'm good.
Someone asked this earlier do you find it hard to adjust your coaching mannerisms when you're dealing with kids that their parenting style, their parents' parenting style is completely different to yours? So to what extent do you respect their parenting stance, and can you retrofit that into the way that you coach a team?
I think that's the same thing you'll see in a CrossFit class. Is everyone has, and I learned that lesson the hard way when I first started coaching. I coached everybody how I wanted to be coached. And I quickly found out that is not what most people want. Like, I love a drill sergeant. I love someone who is hard on me and is screaming at me, because in the way I react to that, I was like, this person is all about me, wants me to do better, and this is just the way they do it. There's no, like, I know exactly what he wants from me. He's very clear on what he wants from me, and I loved that. I thrived on that, because it was almost like a challenge every time. And it's the same with kids and their parenting styles. I would say most of these parents, I do know the way they parent their children. I separate home and sport, in a sense, and that's really the beauty of sport. Is like, we have clear-cut, defined rules out here. There's no gray.
Home's home. This is separate. Yeah.
I'm not here to parent you, right? But if you don't listen, you're not going to play. I'm not going to say, if your parents would tell you to sit down and shut up every once in a while, maybe you'd hear what I'm telling. Like, I'm not bringing the home onto the field. That, and to me, that should be a one-way street. Field to home, depending on what that is, right? And maybe it's both ways. Hey, we leave this at the door, no matter which way we go. Right? We don't want to bring the home into the field, and depending on what happened on the field, we don't want to be in the field into the home.
Yeah.
Now you can filter out the best of both worlds, and that's what we would like. Hey, listen, he responds better to maybe this style of coaching, right? I know yelling at this kid is going to fall on deaf ears. I know coddling this kid is also not going to get what I want. So to understand maybe how they respond to authority, parents, that's where your coaching style can come from. I know that if I got on this kid, he will melt down every time. So when he makes a mistake, I have to get down on his level, talk to him calmly, and just turn the ship. I also know this kid is totally fine with me saying, get your ass up there and stop letting him run by you every time. So yes, actually. But I take the best parts of that.
Do you know the story about Andre the Giant?
Like the wrestler?
So, yeah.
What one?
I
know
there's
lots of
many.
stories.
He used to help train like the teenage wrestlers coming through. And The Rock talked about this. When he had a problem, or when any of the kids were being funny with him, he would walk up to them and pick them up so that they were eye line to him. And then he would talk calmly to them. And then he would put them down back on the floor. And then everything would be sort of left alone. And the Rock talked about this, was that the fact that he wouldn't look down on them when he talked to them. He would remain calm, and he would lift them up to his level and look them in the eyes and talk calmly, and then put them back down. And it was a display of control, but I am in control here, but I don't need to assert myself. I'm bringing you up to my level, in theory, like a symbol of my higher level that I'm working at here. I want you here, and now I'm putting you back down, and you've got to earn that back, that right to be that big. And I really like ideas like that. And it fascinates me with coaching. And my God, I coach teen classes a couple of times a week. The vacant stare.
Oh, I've heard about this stare. Is it called the Gen Z stare? What is it?
It's as if they're watching a phone and you're on the phone, and they're looking through you, but they kind of take most of it in. Yeah. And I'm like, are you there? Like, I'm trying to get anything out of them. Like,
they don't acknowledge it.
It's acknowledge, because they don't have to on a phone. They don't have to acknowledge. There's no feedback loop. The only one is when they unlock their phone, that they give anything into the fucking thing. But the difference between the kids and teens and then the adult coaching is that the adults pay to be there and they want to be there. And that's why it's so much harder coaching kids and getting stuff out of them, is because they haven't paid to be there. Yeah. They don't go in there with an emotional attachment to it. You get that out of them. That's why I have full respect for people like yourself that coach the kids classes, because you're setting them up and you're giving them this lifeline and this environment they can enjoy and love doing and look forward to going to. Like, how cool's that? Like, you're serving up this thing that they love doing.
it's a lot of work just because all of this is volunteer.
Mm.
Which I think sometimes parents forget. Right? It's like I'm coaching 5 different teams right now.
5.
Yeah.
Is that 5 different sports?
Football, soccer, lacrosse. I guess I don't do jiu-jitsu. I take them to that one.
Yeah.
But I'll do basketball later.
Mm.
I don't have to coach my son in baseball. We found a great guy. It's awesome. It was so cool. Last year is his first time playing, and I'm sitting in the stands, and all the moms are like, "What are you doing over here?" I'm like, enjoying watching my son play baseball.
Mm.
The thing you said about trying to get them involved or engaged is a huge point of emphasis for me, because I'll have parents bring their kids out to the field and be like, he doesn't really want to play. We're just trying to get him engaged or to find something new, or we want them to against their will. My sole goal is to get them engaged in the game. And it is a constant just try this, try that. And I think that is probably one of the coolest moments when you see a kid who wants nothing to do with the game or doesn't pay attention. Something clicks to where they just get into it.
And they're bought in.
Dude, I think that might be the end all be all for kids sports at a very young age, is engaging them into sport. Where that light bulb moment, and we had that, it was so awesome. We had that happen twice in my daughter's game yesterday. My assistant coach, he brought us out. He's like, listen, she's going to be a cheerleader when she grows up. We all know this, but we're just going to have her in. She quit every game last year, would sometimes not even play. She wasn't even going to play this year, but it's like somehow she wanted to come back. So she comes back. In the first game, she kicked the ball. Like, I had her on defense. I usually bring kids on defense when they just don't understand the game. I'm like, listen, they're going to kick it over here. You just run and kick it back.
You try and stop it. Yeah.
Just get your foot on the ball. She kicked it once. You would have thought she scored a goal.
Nah, good.
Yesterday, this girl goes and scores a goal. And here's the most awkward part. I'm jumping on the dad because I'm so happy for him. And so I back up because she's running to us, and I back up to the right, and she like tries to circumvent her dad and run to me. Hug your dad first. I'll give you a hug second. And then the same thing for another girl. And the same thing happened to my daughter, though, is that because I tell you, it's like she's good for a 5-year-old on a soccer field where no one's actually playing except for her. Right? She's being competitive. Every girl's out there picking daisies. For 3 seasons, she quit and cried every game. And it was so hard not to get mad. It really frustrated my wife. But she had one moment where she kicked the ball and scored, and then transformed into this new sporty person. And I'm like, I'm chasing that for every single person. Every kid out there who's like shy and quiet, doesn't want to be involved, I'm like, guess what? You're kicking off now, right? Or whatever I can. And if I can get every kid engaged, not good, just engaged. They want to play. They understand what's happening at the time. That's the win. Because no parent wants to sit on the sideline and watch their kid do nothing, or be clueless. Like, nobody wants that. No. But if they're running towards the ball, even if they never kick it, if they're trying, if they get what's happening, it's fun for them. And that's something that's in the back of my head, is like, I want to make sure that the parents are having fun too.
Yeah.
I didn't have any fun watching my daughter quit for 3 seasons.
No.
And I tell the parents that every time, like, hey, she just doesn't get it. I'm like, give her time. All you guys see is Blake right now. Blake was worse than your kid. I promise you. Just give him. Don't self-select what they want to do for them. Bring them back.
Do you think you're, and this isn't a negative thing whatsoever, because I think I am this way when I'm coaching. Do you think you're a people pleaser? Do you feel like imagine like a spectrum. One end, everyone is really, really fucking happy with how they felt, and on the other end, they win the national title.
Yeah.
Are you somewhere in the middle, or are you further towards the people pleasing side of it? Do you think?
I am this weird, both sides of the spectrum.
Okay.
Whereas I almost operate to, I don't people please for the sake of, I don't change who I am to please people.
No.
The results I try to get is to please people. Right. So the actions of which I take are not to please everybody, but the final result of which I'm trying to get to is where I want to please people. So yes, I'm a massive people pleaser. On the same spectrum, on the other side, is that my toxic trait is as soon as you give me that gratification or acknowledgement of that thing, I don't want it.
Yeah.
It's the weird, like,
yeah.
As a kid, is like all I want from my dad or my coaches for them to tell me they're proud of what I did. And as soon as I get it, I'm like, oh no, that felt wrong. Don't give me that. Even though I'm like, that's how I like dedicated my life. And so that, yes, but I won't compromise my beliefs, values, and the way I am to please people. And I'm not a chameleon.
No.
But the end goal is this. Yeah, I want every parent to be happy with how things turned out, but I won't be a different person to every parent so that they like me. Right.
Got it. You want to please them with the tools that you have.
Yeah, I want to please them with the result. I don't care if they like me along the way.
Yep. Yeah. Kindness.
And that's where I operate with anything.
The reason I say that is because I've got this tool in my arsenal that I use, and it works every time, except with kids. It works it works half the time. So Saturday mornings, I coach a class at 8 a.m. after I've done some PT, and they are absolutely miserable gits. Like, it's the same class. Saturday morning, 8 a.m., misery. And your job as the coach is to the best hour of their day. You know, you're raising the spirits, you're giving them fitness, you're there, and you prep yourself up. You know, you talk and you think to yourself, right, I'm going to coach the shit out of this class, and I'm going to give them what they want, and you know, Tim's going to do this and John's going to do this, blah blah blah. And then they walk in and they look like slap faces, and you're like, oh my god. So during the warm-up, I try and get a couple of little cheeky smiles in the warm-up. Like, it's my job, and however I do it, it works. And on the odd occasion it hasn't. At the end of it, when we finish it and time and music goes down a bit, I'll say, right, I want 3 things from everyone, please. I want your kit away, I want your scores on the board, and I want a cheeky smile. And as soon as I say cheeky smile, I get like 4 or 5. And it's towards the end of the session, obviously. Yeah. And I have it in me that I need people to enjoy the time. And it's not that I want to please them. I just want to know that they've had fun in that hour, in some respect. Yeah. It's not all the time. But this is the difference with the kids shit. I've got no idea how to entertain kids that aren't mine. Like, my kids, I can entertain. I just wrestle them. You know, it'll be like, right, skin.
You can't really do that with everyone else.
No, exactly. Like, it'll be like, right, I'll go to my boy and I go, right, skins, shirts will come off and we're wrestling. And I can't really do that with other people's kids.
Yeah.
So the tools that I have for my own kids, and that's what's interesting about what you said about the kids and making them, you know, having them enjoy it and having these tools that you've got to be able to do that. I have full admiration. You know, it's I'm not equipped with the same thing.
I feel that on a deep level. When I was a red shirt for about 7 years and I was doing lectures, I had to get the class on my side early. Because if it was just like first lecture of the day, what is CrossFit? Half the people don't even want to be there. The other half don't even know why they're there. And if they're just this, I'm like, man, that's a rough lecture if just nobody's in it.
Yeah. So
I would always get in trouble with the flow masters. It's like, listen, we need to dial back the entertainment and ramp up the education. I was like, okay. feedback after I never changed ever. And that's what I wanted is like, listen, we will learn more if we're having fun while we're doing it. The kids will have more fun and want to play the game more if they're having fun while they're doing it. And so you need to make sure that you coach them in a way that there's a direct instruction to do it. When it is accomplished, it is acknowledged. And then you push for them to try to do that more. When they don't do that, it's not the end of the world. You tell them where it went wrong, what they need to do to get better, and then you try it again. And that shell game is vital to coaching young kids, because if you can make it fun, they'll want to keep doing it. If we focus on, like we said at the very beginning, this the whole time, it's like it's not end result driven. Because if you hate it every second of the day, maybe I tricked you into thinking winning is what mattered more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got to have fun when you're an adult. There's a difference. But when you're 5, 6, 7, 12, if you don't love the game you're playing as a child, why are you playing it? I mean, how many professionals say they'll retire when they don't love the game anymore? You cannot be a professional athlete if you hate the game you're playing. There is no chance. And we are making kids hate the game they're playing because we are forcing so much result-driven bullshit down their throat as youths instead of making them love the game.
And if you love it, you'll keep coming back and you'll
coming back. And that's the final thing I tell their parents that I said earlier. At the end of the season, when we're all tired and burnt out, I know it's only 8 weeks, but I'm smoked. I'm tired of coaching. On the drive home from that last game, and you ask your child, do you want to play that again? I hope to God that answer is yes. If that answer is yes, mission accomplished. Because they're children. That's the end of the day. It's like, now if it's like, no, I don't really like soccer anymore. Okay, that's what's going to happen. Things will evolve, tastes will change, they'll fall in and love out of it. But it's like, hey, do you like playing sports? It's like, yes, it's so much fun. Great.
Yeah,
that'll keep them around. The other stuff can come when it needs to, and it really isn't until maybe when they're 17. But it definitely doesn't happen when they're 7.
I can't imagine any parent hearing their kids say, I love this sport, and going, oh, like any parent would be over the moon.
Yeah.
You know, your kid is set.
Football. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Exactly.
But a coach can ruin that.
Yeah.
Bernie's got a good question here. Do you differ in style of coaching for boys and girls?
Yes. More so when they're younger.
Yeah.
Also depends on, are they the older or the younger? Like boys, you can be more rough and tough. And I think girls, you're not pampering them, but you just come from a different place. And that's just the difference between boys and girls. So look at them. But it's not much. The message is the same. The way it's presented is different. I might spend more time maybe like on my knees talking to the girls always. In fact, every time I have to give coaching directions, I come down to the ground. They're really close to me, right? With the boys, it's more direct. But if there needs to be a more like, I say intimate is more of a personal. It's like I'll always get down to their level, right? So that when that happens, they feel they're not intimidated. Because if you're trying to scare the kid into doing something right, like that's not going to work.
Yeah, they're not good. Hey.
All they're going to think about is how scared they are and not hear a single word you say. But when you come down to their level, right, that fear goes away. Right? You're not the big scary monster. You're like, hey, listen, I can tell you're upset. Don't worry about it. Just focus on this for the next one. Right? Do I do that all the time? No. But I'm a victim of the moment, just like everybody else from time to time.
I think, but generally speaking, obviously, more often than not, boys are very task orientated. So if you put them to task, you say, right, today, all I want you to do is to do this. They'll go, right, I'm off. And then they'll go and do it. And then they'll come back and go, what's next? It's that. Whereas the girls, I think maybe, this is generally speaking, they need to feel like it was their choice. Whereas boys are happy to be the worker drones. You know, they're happy to be put to task. That's the only difference I've found with, and again, that it kind of applies in the adults in coaching, you know, at the box.
I was going to say, do you think that same applies for adults in coaching? Because I don't teach classes, I teach individuals, and I find individual men, they're more like ego driven, and they don't like being told what to do as much as I can be very blunt and just matter of fact with my female clients, and they don't take it as personal and they just get shit done. Whereas men, they like to think, men with a little bit of knowledge think they know best.
That's dangerous.
And yeah, it is. And sometimes they don't like being told what to do because they don't like thinking that it's not their idea. If you know what I mean. I
think for boys is that you can direct them what to do, and for the girls, you almost have them think that it was their, like I said, it's like it was their idea. It's like, all right, hey, you know, my son is like, dude, run over there and kick the ball out of that group. And the girls are like, hey, if the ball's over there, what are we trying to do? It's like, oh, we got to run over there. I was like, all right, let's do that.
They're more collaborative. And as they get older, like females are more collaborative. They work well with each other. And I think as they get older, that translates into coachability a bit better. Whereas as the male ego with testosterone kicks in, they're task orientated. They then feel that they can do it. And it's their job and they're task orientated. So maybe they know what to do. That, you know, I'm a full grown man, you know, I can do everything.
Dad. I'm like, no, you don't.
And it's, and it's funny. Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because there's the cutoff point for power cleans and power snatches at the gym. There's a reason. What would that be for you guys? So red plates on a barbell, whatever.
70K.
So 70 kilo barbell for, and I don't know what that would be for. Is it
155?
135? Right.
I got you.
Thank you. There's this ceiling for workouts that the normal average gym goer for a male gets to, and then it goes to shit. And up until that point, they can sort of muscle their way through with those reps, but put 80 kilos on the bar and they're fucked.
Yeah.
Whereas the females, there doesn't seem to be that sticking point because they're coachable and they take it a little bit steadier with their learning and they carry on breaking through. And then they haven't really got that sticking point.
They don't like that grit, grindy car crash feeling with the barbell. Like, oh, I don't enjoy that. I'd rather stay here if the weights are comfortable and light, easy to do. Dude's like, I must have a blue and a green. On the barbell.
Yeah, it's a funny old world, isn't it? But yeah. Right, Chase, we've had you for 2 hours. We asked you for an hour of your time and you've doubled it.
Good, man. This is great. Perfect day for it.
Thank you so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. I think we've covered all fatherhood and coaching. We've basically, you know, proven ourselves as dads and coaches now, so we can retire now.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Someone else can pick my kids up from school today.
Awesome. Well, yeah, Jon, unless you had anything else to say, any more questions you had lined up?
No more questions. I was just enjoying listening to most of this conversation. To be fair,
I feel like I dominated the entire thing. I apologize.
No,
man. Perfect.
Awesome.
But yeah, thank you so much. And what have you got planned for the rest of the day? Do you do anything for because obviously it is 9/11 today. So do you have a workout planned for that? Have you done one, or do you do anything?
I do the same workout every year. And it's 9 rounds. We'll do 11 burpees, 11 chest to bar pull-ups, 20 burpees, 1 deadlift at 365 for the men, 247 for the women. Oddly enough, 365, 24/7 is the concept, right? Where but those weights are actually perfect for each other.
Wow.
Percentage wise. And so 9 rounds is September, 11 chest to bar pull-ups is 9/11. 20 would be the burpees, and then 1 heavy deadlift. And so the idea is like there's a lot of metaphors that I just plug into that one, which is why I just don't change it, is that, pulling ourselves up from a tragedy, getting yourself on the ground and getting up, and then pulling something heavy off the floor with those numbers. It just has always worked strangely perfectly. So
yeah,
that's the one I
quite
do.
fitting. I still can't get my head around it's been 24 years.
Yeah. I posted about this earlier, but it's like I remember every single detail and emotion from that day. The good, obviously it really wasn't any good. It's just like all that happened at that day. And not to get into it, but it was just like 24 years later, I feel the uncomfortability in the cafeteria that day, where it was just like, it was all the Americans on one side, and it was all the kids that looked like who we thought did the hijacking on the other side. Like that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? The silence on the campus, because I was in college at the time, there's no airplanes in the skies for 24 hours. It was a weird day, and it was brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every second forever, I'll still feel, I gave you a minute by minute account of how that whole day went. It was wild.
Yeah. Well, I think that the rest of the world feels that, that impact. And for the Americans who are like the powerhouse, for them to feel hurt, it's like seeing your dad cry.
But it felt like if it could happen there, like shit, this could happen anywhere.
Well, we had a lot of foreigners on our swim team. So I swam collegiately.
Yeah.
And they were almost more shook up than we were. Because we had people coming from England, Spain, South Africa, South America. They were all there. And you leave your home country to the United States, your assumption is that you're going to a pretty safe spot, right? And for those emotions that you guys may have had overseas at the time, they were there, right? And so we almost had to not comfort them, because we were going through, everybody's going through it. It wasn't like our special moment that nobody else can take part of. Like, you can have those emotions the same with anybody else. It wasn't an American issue, even though it happened to Americans predominantly. Like, they were more shook on an average than maybe we were. It was wild. It was a wild thing to see. Like, they're calling home, and it was a weird day.
The Superman was shot.
Yeah.
And the vulnerability of that superpower was shown. And I think that was what probably hit those people over there the hardest.
Yeah.
And I and I guess what happened yesterday was a little bit of that as well globally.
Very much so.
It was Charlie's voice represented that freedom, and Sousa was talking about this earlier with Savon. That voice, politics aside, that was and you talked about this before we went on. The first, your major rule, freedom, the freedom of speech,
right?
And then that has physically been attacked,
right?
And I think that ripple. That's why people abroad might have been impacted by that so much, because again, Dad's been hurt,
right?
And we don't like seeing Dad getting hurt. So that, I think that's probably why it was so impactful, rather than the actual. Obviously, it's quite awful what happened, but I think it's bigger than one man,
right,
getting hit.
Yeah, and the way I feel now about what happened yesterday with Charlie, and especially how I felt yesterday, I think only one moment in my life I could feel the same type of feeling, and that's what happened on 9/11 in 2000. And it's like the whole thing. It's horrible on a level that I can't find words to. Like, it's horrible. So, yeah,
and
it's sombering
and surreal.
Yeah.
You know, that there's moments in life that you, good and bad, that when you're living through it, you don't really get the full gravity. And it's only in the days and the months and the years afterwards that you truly, it really does sink in about the gravity of the situation that you're in.
Right.
You know? Like the COVID shit.
Right.
You know, one thing after another happening with that you just went, oh, it's part of it. And then now you're like 5 years later, it's like, hey, they did what? That's going to be in the history books, you know?
Right. That was allowed to happen.
Yeah. But we can only do what we can do, you know? And I'll this will be my final note. It won't be everyone's. One of the lads that I coached yesterday, 13-year-old, came in. He said, Jake, why doesn't everyone want to change the world? Because of what happened with Charlie. He said, why doesn't everyone change the world? And I said, because they know they can't, but there's I don't know if you know the rock band Gojira. They're a French rock band. One of their most poignant lyrics is, when you change yourself, you change the world. And my answer to him was, you can change yourself. And if everyone changes themselves, that's how you change the world. So you have to look introspectively. You're not going to directly change everything around the world for you. Sort yourself out, and you are changing the world. And the reaction and how we respond to these situations and how we react publicly and, you know, personally, that's how we see the true reflection of people in these kind of moments. Yeah,
that's a good way of how it feels, and it's it's perfectly said. That's something I'm wrestling with now too. Is like, okay, what can I do to be better for myself and the people around me?
Yeah.
After seeing that taken away from someone.
Yeah. Hug your kids.
Yeah.
Say good night to your kids every night and tell them you love them.
Yep. If you forget, just go back in an hour.
Yeah, buddy.
Pick them up.
Good. Right. Well, thanks, Chase. And thank you everyone for joining us. We have quite a lot of people having some input, so really thankful for that. I hope you guys, you know, think about the events of 24 years ago well today, and you do your workouts. Chase has given you a workout if you haven't got one. Heidi, I'm expecting big things from you from that workout, so let us know. But we'll be back on Sunday, won't we, on Sunday evening?
We will. Cool. Yeah, we will. No guest on Sunday, possibly head-to-head, because we do have two people that will go against each other on Sunday. So
nice one. Right.
And Chase isn't one of them. But
no, Chase isn't doing it this week.
But now that he's been on, we will try and pester him into doing that.
Oh, man.
Chase B. Bill. Barefoot lunges. There you go. There's Bill.
Bill will destroy me.
But we do have a few. Will we stay on an announcement we've got coming on, or no? Just wait.
Nah, we'll do that Sunday.
Cool.
Nice one. All right.
We've got
Kim
Jong-un coming on.
We have got Kim Jong-un coming on in a couple of weeks' time.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice one. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching.